The following is a project of our nonprofit newsroom. Support Midcoast Morning and local community-centered journalism today by signing up to be a monthly sustaining donor at choy.ca/donate. It doesn't take much money to support local news.
Hello and welcome to Midcoast Morning. I'm Laura McKenzie. Nobody likes cold feet. As the weather gets colder, those unhoused in our community know this more than anyone. Right now, two groups are coming together to help warm feet. Today, we're talking to Nanaimo Women Helping Women, a grassroots organization that works to support women with or without children in the community who are in crisis. They not only support women experiencing intimate partner violence of any kind, but they also support women who become unhoused. The group was founded by sexual health educator Kerri Isham in the fall of 2021, after she and some other women in Nanaimo were inspired by the Netflix show Maid, which follows a young mother escaping an abusive relationship and the struggle of trying to provide for her daughter. Nanaimo Women Helping Women has several ongoing fundraisers to raise money for women in crisis. Recently, they launched a winter boot program to raise money to give new winter boots to unhoused women. Having access to dry winter boots helps prevent frostbite and trench foot as the weather outside becomes wet and cold. In addition to their efforts, VIU nursing students have recently started a sock and shoe drive to donate to those unhoused in Nanaimo. Student hosts from CHOY's show A Sound Constitution have teamed up with Tillicum Lalem to run the drive, accepting donations of new and slightly used shoes and socks. Today, I speak with the founder of Nanaimo Women Helping Women, Kerri Isham, about the group and their current winter boot drive. I also speak with fourth-year VIU nursing student and member of A Sound Constitution, Lauren Neeson, about their shoe and sock drive. Finally, I speak with Youth Career and Leadership Training Coordinator at Tillicum Lalem, Alicia Dawson, about their partnership and the importance of the drive. Additionally, a quick note. Today marks my temporary leave from Midcoast Morning to do other work in our nonprofit newsroom. I'll be working full-time with Local Journalism Initiative reporter Mick Sweetman until the end of March. Starting this Friday, Joe Pugh, Midcoast Morning alumni and current host of People First Radio, will be taking over and bringing you the latest news that is happening on the Salish Sea. With that, let's jump into it. Hello and welcome to Midcoast Morning. To start us off, for listeners who might not know, can you tell us about Nanaimo Women Helping Women and what it does and how it got started?
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for having me today. Nanaimo Women Helping Women, our first gathering before we even knew that we were doing anything was in October 2021 on Zoom. We had 25 women join, and it basically was a response to the Netflix series Maid. A bunch of people had watched it. There was a lot of chat about it on Facebook, and so I just put it out there. Hey, does anyone want to meet on Zoom and talk about this, talk about the barriers? And then the first hour was talking about how we felt about the series, and then the second hour was, well, what are we going to do about it? So we are a grassroots women's collective. We have a little over 1,000 members in the last 2 years. And in our first 2 years, we raised just a little over $70,000 and helped 139 women.
And can you sort of explain where that money that you raise goes to?
Absolutely. So basically, we wanted to be the support for the frontline workers. Often, nonprofits have very specific budgets. And we wanted to be the bridge between helping the client, take their next steps, and the bridge between the client and the nonprofit worker who may not be able to offer gift cards for groceries, for gas, for fast food, for the dollar store. We also have paid for short-term hotel stays. We've paid for locker rentals. We have paid for ferry passes and car insurance, basically whatever the client needs to make that next step. And we don't meet with the clients very often, so it gives the frontline workers an opportunity to feel really good about giving their clients something that they may not have been able to give due to financial restrictions.
And what have been some of the biggest successes come out of this group?
Well, one of our gals is an accountant, and she helped one of our clients in a local shelter, and she hadn't received her child tax benefit for a number of years. and it worked out to be $19,000. I think, I think the biggest thing that we do, we help women when they're transitioning from being unhoused to housed. And so one of our admin, Laura, she is our furniture moving coordinator. And so when someone's moving into a new house, and we're going to be doing one in our group actually starting very shortly, and a mom with a little person and then two identical twins, and she's moving into her new place. And basically, her support person helped her fill out the housing request form for furniture and things like that. And then we put in our group, and then we do our best in 5 to 7 days to gather the items. And they're collected. The smaller items are given to one of the admin team. And then anybody offering furniture is asked to either deliver it themselves or ask the people in our group who have trucks and trailers to be able to move it directly to that person.
And how many people work behind the scenes with this group?
So currently right now we have 8 people on our admin team. Everybody has very specific roles. And, honestly, that I've never worked with a harder working group of people in my life. Everybody is super competent. Everybody's super supportive and kind. And it works like a fine oiled machine.
What are some of the current programs or offerings that are being offered right now?
Okay. Well, we have a current fundraiser going on right now for Panago medium pizzas, which is you pay $14 and then $4 comes back to us. We are offering a free winter boots program right now. So anybody who's unhoused, their support person can go to Nanaimo Women Helping Women, nwhw.ca, click on the referral portal, and then there is an active link that you can click. And we just need the person's first name, last initial, and then where we're going to be dropping the boots off and what size.
This group is for giving support to people who identify as women. Can you explain to me the importance of why that is?
So actually, we have just changed the language around that. Instead, we used to say self-identifying women, and we got some feedback from the trans community that we may just want to put women because trans women are women. And so we actually have now just put that we are supporting single women with or without children who are in crisis.
Okay, so then can you talk about why this group is solely for women?
Well, because it was inspired from the Netflix series Maid, and it was about a young woman who was trying to get out of an abusive situation. And so although I think we benefit men as well as children from our group, it definitely seeps out. Our primary focus is on women.
And then, so going back to what you said about the winter boot program, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So my husband and I asked my husband if he would go to Canadian Tire with me a few weeks back on a Friday night for, I guess, a date night. And we found 3 pairs of boots. They were regularly $99. And so I was like, I'm going to buy those because they were $34.97. And then I talked to the manager, George, and one of the managers at Canadian Tire. And he's like, well, let me look this up to see if we have any in the warehouse. So they had just a little under 200 boots. And so he said, well, if you want to buy the boots, we can bring them in. So our group pre-purchased the boots, and they were delivered 2 Fridays ago. And now we are hoping to have all 128 pairs go out into the community.
And how can people donate or sponsor the boots?
Yeah, sure. So we have people sponsoring the boots, and one of our admin team, Sarah, created sort of a gift PDF. So if instead of buying someone a gift, you can give them the little PDF that says, I purchased these boots on your behalf. And so basically, it's a very simple system. People can e-transfer $40 to Nanaimo Women Helping Women at gmail.com. And then as soon as we get a request in, the boots are promised within 48 hours to be delivered to the client. Not directly to the client, but to the nonprofit or organization that is helping them get the boots.
And do you know what nonprofits you'll be giving the boots to?
Yep. We can give them to any of the ones that we are currently supporting. So Nanaimo Family Life Association, Central Vancouver Island Multicultural Society, Cedar Women House, Substance Use Service, Nanaimo Sobering and Assessment Center, Tillicum Lalem, Community Outreach Response. We may get requests from Mamas for Mamas, Nanaimo Regional General Hospital, Island Health, Salvation Army, Island Crisis Care Society, Nanaimo and Area Resource Services for Families. And we're also partnering with Shoes for You.
Where can people go to learn more about Nanaimo Women Helping Women?
Well, we have a landing page on Facebook called Nanaimo Women Helping Women. We also have a Instagram page as well. And then we just have our new website, so nwhw.ca.
Thank you for joining me on Midcoast Morning.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
That was Kerri Isham, founder of the group Nanaimo Women Helping Women.
Midcoast Morning is made possible by the Community Radio Fund of Canada's Radio Meters program and listeners like you. Support Midcoast Morning and CHOI's nonprofit newsroom today by becoming a sustaining donor at choi.ca/donate. Local news can't survive without your support. Another way to help us out is to share this show with your friends and tell them why they should support us. Finally, if you're listening to the podcast edition of Midcoast Morning, go and give us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast feed you use. It helps people find us.
As a practicum for her nursing program, Lauren Neeson is one of the hosts of CHY's A Sound Constitution. I spoke with Lauren about the sock and shoe drive their team recently started. Here's that interview now. Hello and welcome to Midcoast Morning. Right now, as a practicum, you and a couple other nursing students are running the CHY radio show, A Sound Constitution. How has that been going? What have been some of the topics you have covered in the show?
A Sound Constitution actually has been a lot of fun. It's myself and it's made up of myself and 8 other VIU nursing students, and we're just in our last year, so things are kind of finishing up. But it's been a really cool opportunity to kind of look at what's relevant to community right now and make episodes based off of that. So a few examples of episodes we've done have been, like, we did an episode on forest fires this year and the health implications of that. We've done episodes on addictions and just other health issues like the effects of alcohol on the body. So yeah, we kind of just do little polls and see what's relevant to us and then come up with episodes, and we've interviewed some really cool people.
And along with Sound Constitution, you and your team have just started a shoe and sock drive. Can you tell me a little bit about why you wanted to start this and how the idea came up?
Yeah, for sure. So our most recent episode was actually on foot health, and my co-host Kiana, her uncle, is a podiatrist that we interviewed, and he has a social media platform where he calls himself the Toe Bro. And so we learned a lot about foot health, which is often something that's quite overlooked, but it's quite important. It's an important part of healthcare. And so we decided to do a shoe and sock drive within Nanaimo because we recognized a need, specifically among the unhoused population, especially as temperatures are dropping. I think there's currently around 400 people without residence in Nanaimo. So as you can imagine, as temperatures are dropping, frostbite becomes an issue. So we decided to do a shoe and sock drive with clean socks or gently used shoes that we are collecting at VIU up in building 210 and on the 3rd floor. So yeah, we're doing the shoe and socks there, and we're really looking to prevent frostbite this winter, as that can lead to a whole array of other health issues, just because the feet are so far away from the core of the body, so they get cold fast.
Okay, and sort of going off of that, can you explain a bit more for people who don't know about the concerns and health problems that could occur if somebody doesn't have proper access to dry shoes and socks?
Sure. So yeah, the biggest concern would be frostbite, and also just having wet feet would make it really cold. And like as we know, you've probably heard of like trench foot, like that can become a thing. And because the toes and the feet are so, as I said, far away from the core of the body, they're hard to keep warm. And also they are particularly vulnerable to infections. Especially with people who have other health concerns like diabetes. People with diabetes, their feet are often really difficult to manage because it's difficult to heal. They're difficult to take care of. And so I think of like frostbite, infections, that would be the biggest concern. That's why and it's often overlooked because a lot of people don't really like to think too hard about feet, but that's why we decided to look at it.
And would you say having access to dry shoes or socks could help with these concerns?
Yes. And as you can imagine, once someone already has frostbite on their feet, it's hard to, and if they don't have like somewhere warm to go, it would be difficult to kind of like prevent that from getting any worse. So that's where, changing socks often and putting on dry shoes, that's when that would be really important.
Who are you working with on this?
So we have partnered up with the Tillicum-Lelam outreach program. They're located on Halliburton Street in Nanaimo. So we have kind of taken the collection process, and then we are going to deliver what we've collected to the Tillicum-Lelam Center. And they have great resources, and they are going to be the ones who are distributing what we've gathered to those in need.
And how can people donate to this drive?
Yeah, for sure. So we have set up a little box, and it's currently up there. It's been up there since the 8th, and we'll have the box until November 30th. So you can donate any clean or gently used socks and shoes to the drop-off location, which is at Vancouver Island University, which is located at 900 5th Street in Nanaimo, and it's building 210. And the box is just on the top of the 3rd floor there. You'll see a little box decorated in some holiday wrapping with a sign.
What would classify as a proper shoe?
Well, we haven't really said what we don't want, but just anything gently used, really, and in a variety of sizes would be great. I know, like amongst the nursing program, we're joking that we have a lot of like size 6 to 9 women's shoes. So we're looking for big shoes, small shoes, kind of everything, and just something that's like gently used that you would still feel comfortable wearing. But yeah, any type of shoes, sneakers, boots. Of course, with colder temperatures, that would be great. But yeah, whatever you have, we would appreciate.
And is there a way for people to donate money towards the drive, or is it just the physical shoes and socks?
We have only set it up to be able to do shoes and socks at the moment, unfortunately.
Okay. And then do you have any other comments you'd like to add about this?
It's just something, I think when you see donation boxes, which are wonderful, it's often coats and hats and things like that. But I think, like the feet are often overlooked. So it's hard to imagine, like if you've ever walked outside barefoot in the winter, just to even go get your garbage bins or something, it's painful and it's cold. So I think just keeping that in mind, that there are people who are living in cold conditions all the time, just to kind of keep that in mind, and maybe have a look through your shoes, because I'm sure lots of us have a bit of a too many shoes problem. So it would be a really good way to donate this holiday season.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining me on Midcoast Morning.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
That was Lauren Neeson on her group's sock and shoe drive. I also spoke with Youth Career and Leadership Training Coordinator at Tillicum-Lelam, Alicia Dawson, about the partnership in the drive. Hello and welcome to Midcoast Morning. To start us off, can you explain what Tillicum-Lelam does and what you do there?
Yeah. So Tillicum-Lelam, we have quite a few programs here. We have a lot of wraparound programs. So we serve the Indigenous community of Nanaimo, both on and off reserve. But we do also help out anyone else who may need our services. So I work in the Culture and Rec department. So we do a lot of youth programs. We run after school programs, youth group, and a family drop-in on Fridays.
And do you do a lot of work with donations?
We do. We quite often just, people just come and donate pretty much anything that they would like to donate. And we often will deliver it to families, or families will come here to our office and pick up any donations that they might want. We often have like shoes and clothes right by our front door here that people have donated, that people can just come along and come grab what they need.
Recently, I spoke with Lauren, one of the VIU nursing students working on the sock and shoe drive. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got connected for this?
Yeah, myself as a practicum student about 2 years ago, and another student, Dahlia, we actually had started an outreach program here. So we had some funding, and we went out and just kind of bought some needed items like socks, underwear, hand warmers. We made up some little snack bags, things like that. And we just started, we took a little wagon in our van, and we just walked around downtown and just kind of handed out whatever was needed to members of the community down there. So we had previously didn't have funding for that, and so we had stopped it. But when the two practicum students came this year, we had achieved a little bit of funding, so we've been doing that again. And me and the students were chatting, and we just kind of talked about an idea of maybe doing a little bit of a drive for like socks and shoes, because especially with these cold months coming up that we're already into, socks and shoes are quite important for everyone down there, as it's wet and it's cold, and they walk a lot during the day, and their shoes wear out pretty quick.
And where will the socks and shoe donations be going?
We'll store them here at the office at Tillicum, and then we will be taking them downtown. So just anyone who's down on the streets in downtown Nanaimo will be handing them out and taking them straight to the people who need it there.
And that will be Tillicum Lalem distributing them?
We're going to do as much as we can through Tillicum Lalem, but if we do have leftovers, I do know some of the workers with VIHA who do the Happy Feet program the last Friday of every month. So if we just can't distribute all of them, then we might, join with them and donate some shoes to them as well. Okay.
And why are these donations so important?
These donations are important because we have quite a large houseless population downtown Nanaimo. We have typically a more mild climate here compared to a lot of other places across the country. So a lot of people do come here, as it's generally slightly less harsh than, minus 40 on the streets, but it's quite wet here on the West Coast. We get quite a bit of rain. And once you're wet and you're cold, it's really tough to warm up. So these donations are very important for all the people who live down there and all across the city who might not have a stable housing over their heads, to help them keep warm and keep dry, and do help out the best that we can.
Have you seen people come to Tillicum Lalem asking for new socks and shoes?
Not specifically our office for this program, as most of them are houseless folks downtown, but we do have quite a few people who come up to us, and even when we sometimes will run out of how many socks we have with us, and people are very quite thankful to have that, and they have begun to look for us on Wednesday mornings. They know that we're out there on Wednesdays with our wagon handing out clean socks and underwears and hand warmers. So they're very, very happy, and they come back and they bring their friends, or they'll take some for their friends.
And how can people support this drive?
Well, if anyone does have any donations, they can always bring them right into our office here, the Education Center at Tillicum Lalem at 927 Halliburton Street, or they can always give me a call here at the office if donations need to be picked up. The office number is 753-8291. Just call and ask for Alicia, and I can get that all sorted.
Okay, and is there anything else you'd like to say on this topic?
I'm just very happy to be doing this. There's quite a big need, and everyone's very, very thankful down there to have a little bit of help. And most response from people in the community that we're doing this has been quite lovely, and I've really appreciated all of the help and the donations that we've had so far.
Thank you for joining me on Midcoast Morning.
No problem. Thank you very much.
That was Alicia Dawson, Youth Career and Leadership Training Coordinator at Tilcomlelam. That was our story for the day. Thank you to Kerri Isham, Lauren Eason, and Alicia Dawson for joining me today. You can find more information on how to donate to Nanaimo Women Helping Women or learn more about the group at nwhw.ca. A Sound Constitution's Shoe and Sock Drive is currently running until November 30th. You can drop off donations at Vancouver Island University in Building 210 on the 3rd floor, or at Tilcomlelam's Education Centre at 927 Halliburton Street, Nanaimo. I'm Laura Mackenzie, host and producer of Midcoast Morning. Jesse Woodward is our executive producer, and Arby Frew is our technical advisor. You can sign up for CHY's newsletter at chy.ca/subscribe for updates from our nonprofit newsroom and more. Our theme song is First One by local Nanaimo band, Waste Management. You can find more of their music on their Bandcamp. Support local artists by buying their music. If you have a story you'd like us to cover, email us at news@chy.ca. That is all from me for now, but keep it locked to see what stories Joe Pugh will cover as interim host and producer of Midcoast Morning.
Midcoast Morning would not be possible without the funding of the Community Radio Fund of Canada's Radio Meters program and listeners like you. Midcoast Morning is a project of CHOI's nonprofit newsroom. Support nonprofit journalism in Nanaimo and on the Salish Sea today by becoming a monthly sustaining donor at $5 or more per month. Support the program at choi.ca/donate. If you're already a supporter, record a voice memo telling others where you're listening from and why they too should support our work. After you're done, you can email it to us. Also, share the podcast with your friends. While Meta is blocking Canadian users from sharing news content on their Facebook feeds, you can still share our podcast directly with your friends via Facebook or Instagram Messenger. Finally, this program acknowledges and gives thanks to the Snuneymuxw First Nation as we broadcast and podcast from their traditional territory. Thanks for listening.